Hello and welcome to yet another insightful edition of Business Summit. My name is Eunice Peregrino-Dati. Limited access to financing has been one of the major challenges confronting micro, small and medium enterprises. In today's episode, we'll be discussing credit accessibility to SMEs. And with us is Mr. Dominic Donkoh, the head of credit risk from Procredit. You're welcome, Mr. Donkoh.
Thank you for having me.
Limited access to financing, like I indicated earlier on, has been one of the main challenges confronting SMEs. We'll go on a quick commercial break. When we get back, we'll find out how Procredit is making this differently for the sector in Ghana. Please don't go away. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. Dominic, Procredit is said to be an SME-friendly bank. Tell us, how true is this?
First of all, Procredit has SME as a fundamental part of its mission statement. For this reason, we provide credit facilities to SME entrepreneurs, knowing very well that in all the countries where we operate around the world, they are a critical part of the development of those economies. So we have SME financing as a fundamental and a critical part of our mission statement and a central focus. The second part is to make sure this works. We have over the years developed appropriate and efficient processes and systems that make sure that an SME client, regardless of the degree of formality, is in a position to interact with us, and we same, to bridge the gap between the expectation of the SME client on one hand, vis-a-vis the information that is available, and how to translate this information into financial and non-financial information for business decisions by us. Also to underline our friendliness to SMEs, we have over the years ensure that physical access is available through our wide branch network and our business centers, which are particularly for our SME clients because we believe they need adequate time in order that we can have detailed discussions in a professional environment and at the same time have these discussions as privately as possible.
I see. This is interesting. You also talked about the non-formal nature of SMEs. And I'm pretty much interested in that because a lot of the SMEs, like you already know, are operating in a non-formal, environment. So how can they also access credit? Do you help them in any ways? I mean, how do you make credit really accessible to them? Because due to their nature, they are in the non-formal environment and some of their operations may not be documented, for instance. So how easy is it for you to relate to these group of, companies, organizations, or entrepreneurs, and how relevant do you make your services and access to them for that purpose?
I think the issue of informality amongst SMEs has to be put into context. First of all, SME entrepreneurs in our countries operate in environments where they need to follow up literally on every single transaction through to execution. So from the placing of an order through to the clearing of the goods, through to getting the goods to the shops or equipment to the shop installation and start of operations. This is something that our structures have not provided systems that allow the entrepreneurs to outsource. So literally they have to be engaged deeply in all these activities. This means they have a strong focus on the transactions part of their businesses and less time for organizing the information in a structured form. So this is the context I want to put the current situation in. On the other hand, we have to continuously guide and support and develop our SME sector to move into the direction of documentation, into the direction of formalization, because this is also very beneficial to them. Then they can translate the financial information out of the transactions that they do on a regular basis. But coming back to Procredit and how we resolve this, we have over the years developed a technology that allows us as an institution, through our trained staff, to translate the detailed transactions of SME clients into summarized financial and non-financial information for credit decisions. And this is a system that we have practiced around the world for over 20 years in the 3 continents we operate in: Africa, in Latin America, and in Eastern Europe, continents which businessmen are not typically fully formalized. So this is how we have bridged this gap, which is one of the biggest challenges of other financial institutions.
Okay, sounds good. So what services are really available? I mean, if an SME client walks into your offices and they're trading in different and all sorts of goods, but they want specific, solutions to their financial needs, what do you tell them? What services do you offer them? What range of products or services do you have available that SMEs can choose from?
First of all, SMEs, like all other businesses, require the full range of banking services. And this ranges from transactions that support payment of their operations, that support receipt of proceeds, that support international and local transfers and payments. So this is fundamental for SME activities, and this is what Procredit offers in terms of banking services. And then, obviously, SME institutions need to develop through expansion, through retooling, through working capital. And since it is important that financial institutions offer this support, Procredit is central and is driving this through our credit facilities. And what we offer for SMEs are based on the identification of the client need and the investment plan that they have, although sometimes not documented, but obviously they have them.
An idea of what
they have a clear idea of what they want to do and what they want to achieve. The only difference is that they may not document it as a multinational would do, but they have a clear idea of what they want to do. So having discussed these investment plans and having discussed their expectations and the feasibility of the expectations, we then offer the appropriate credit financing, be it working capital, fixed assets, and then we also discuss the maturities and the payment terms on the basis of the cash flow patterns of the investments that are going to be entered into. So this is it on the credit part. But as you know, agriculture is a critical part of our economy, and it is also good that government has signaled that despite our recent oil find, there will still be a continuous focus on agriculture. For this reason, Procredit, which has over the years been financing agriculture in all its forms, from input dealers through to fisheries, through poultry, through tree crops, commercial crops, vegetable farming, we have continued to provide credit facilities for expansion and also to support the input dealers, because once they have the appropriate equipment and the appropriate seeds and materials and input for the farmers, then we have a strong linkage from the input dealer through to the farmer and also to the processor. This is something that we have been doing over the years and continue to do because we consider agriculture as a critical part of our economy, and we, as an institution, have a strong focus on this.
This is quite interesting because agribusiness is now the way to go. We're trying to mechanize agriculture and trying to process a lot of raw materials into finished, goods as well. So with this kind of range of support that you're providing, I think that's really great. But how is real access? That's the thing. I mean, you've talked quite nicely about all the range of services that you can offer an SME, but how really accessible is this kind of credit to them? I mean, once you go through their books and you're able to support them to capture whatever non-financial information into suitable financial information, then what? Are you then able to say yes because of the volume of transactions that you do over time and your turnover and whatever, we're able to support you with this kind of loan, or what? Do you turn them away, or how friendly really are you in terms of really providing real access? Because a lot of SMEs complain that, yes, we take all the financial plans and the business plans to the banks, and at the end of the day, they turn us away. But since you are an SME-focused bank, we know you're there for them. Can you tell us how real access to financing is to this subsector?
Thanks. I mean, real access is real access. When we say real access, we mean access from the entry point through the physical access I mentioned, throughout to the financial service. So approving the credit facilities as is required. I think we should make the distinction between what is required and what is wanted. So what we do is to make sure that throughout our discussions with our clients, we come to a point where we agree on what is required without also overburdening the client with credits. Because if the credit is not structured properly, too much giving can damage the business. Too little giving damages the business. So throughout our discussions and relationships with our SME clients, it is about finding the best fit, which is also what is appropriate on the basis of the investment plans and the expectations of the client.
How is real access to SMEs? Because they keep complaining that, well, yes, we provide all the materials and all the information that the banks need, and yes, they turn us away. Tell me, is there something that the SMEs are not doing right? And if there is, you tell us whatever it is, and then give us some kind of solutions as to what they can do to make them, to make credit more accessible to them. We'll come back shortly and take it up from there. Continue from where we stopped off, for the break. And I wanted to find out from you what you think SMEs are not doing right, which is preventing them from having real access, in a more general context.
In a more general context, I see two main dimensions. The first part is the interface, which I've mentioned before, between the SME entrepreneur and the financial institution. This requires that SMEs continue, as most of them are doing now, with improving formalization of business information, so that they document the information as they continue also to focus on the transactions, which is an important part of their day-to-day activities. The other side is that financial institutions in general should develop the capacity to understand how SMEs function, so that they can also streamline their requirements and expectations in the context of what can be available, and continue with more discussions with SME entrepreneurs.
Engaging them more.
Engaging them more in a discussion, regardless of the amount of paper and documents that are available.
Okay.
Because ultimately, there are still very critical information that may not be put down on paper.
Documented, yes.
So, encouraging SMEs to continue to improve the information structure, at the same time encouraging financial institutions to understand and streamline requirements and expectations. So this is one level of it. The second part is that the issue of credit and credit facilities in general is not only between financial institutions and the SME entrepreneur. You have third-party institutions which also provide support services to facilitate the granting of credit. Institutions that have a relationship with property ownership, with business registration and documentation, also offer critical support in this context. And it's good that now we see that more and more we are having some of the institutions being consolidated. Going forward, what we need to continue to discuss and encourage would be centralized database for most of these institutions, so that somebody who started a business sometime 10 years ago in Accra, now in Sunyani or Kumasi, should be able to go to the branch of such an institution and access this information from Sunyani without coming to Accra. And it should also be possible for the financial institution to access this information from Sunyani not coming to Accra. Because every single time that is lost in confirming some of these third-party information is also a delay in the process of granting credit.
Okay.
And added to this, it even makes it difficult for the SME clients because the investment decisions are on the basis of opportunities that are available within short-time periods.
Particular time frame. Yeah.
And so, unlike multinationals, which will have to do their cash flows and business plan for 1 year, the decision horizon of SME clients are probably 3 months or 2 months. And every day that is lost in the process
is costly. Down the drain, yes.
It's costly to the SME client. So, moving forward, these are the areas we would want to encourage, that financial institutions and SMEs together develop a relationship that bridges this gap in respect of information. On the other part, third-party institutions that support credit and financial services delivery also continue to improve their processes to make sure that SMEs ultimately benefit from the services that are available.
You're talking about an enabling business environment where SMEs can also flourish and where they'll have quicker access to services that can also help them in facilitating transactions and ultimately access to credit, or where they need it. Now, the other thing is that you've talked about how you treat your SME clients and your agri-business or agri-loans, and as well as ordinary SME loans. Now, how about the process? You talked about how you engage them at whatever level before you help them transform whatever information they have into meaningful financial information for you to decide on how much, loans you're going to give them or whatever. Yeah, so my question is, what other support services do you provide, if any, to SMEs to enable them, come to a certain level where they can relate in a more professional and in a more formalized way with Procredits as an institution, so that they can also access some of these benefits, in terms of credit?
Thanks very much. Besides the financial services that we offer, for every SME client, we have an assigned client relationship manager. And the client relationship manager focuses on supporting the SME client in information management. So organizing information that previously did not exist in a structure that is beneficial to the SME client and at the same time relevant for the processes of credit decisions and other financial services delivery. So this is the first part. The second part is also that the client relationship managers are advising our SME clients in respect of formalizing documents with third-party institutions. So recommending the institutions that are responsible for particular, say, for example, properties that are owned by the client. At the same time, using our internal specialists to offer the technical support for the SME clients. And then thirdly, our CRMs, as I had mentioned earlier, are very well trained to study the developments on the international market, which affect the businesses of our clients, and then on a frequent basis, discuss with our clients the opportunities that exist within Ghana, outside Ghana, and in the event that there are some issues that may have risk potential for our clients, we already prepare them in the process so that such risks can be better managed.
Do all these, range of support services come at an extra cost to the client, or is it, a matter of being so friendly and nice and sweet to SMEs that they come, just as you're working, you get these services as part of the holistic, services that are provided? We
do not charge any fees for these extra services that we offer. This underlines our strategic focus and mission on SMEs, and we continuously believe that this is the only way we can make the transformation from informality to formality and also to shorten the time that it takes for services to be delivered to SMEs. So this is a top-up.
Okay,
for our clients.
This is sweet. But, Business Summit is here to provide relevant and reliable information to SMEs to flourish, to become more efficient and, support the growth of their enterprises. Now, what else can you say about Procredit that will benefit our SME audience? Because they're listening and they're watching and they want to really come to you for support and whatever services that you're providing to them. So what do you want to say to them as your final words before we round up?
Procredit Savings and Loans Company offers full range of banking services to all SMEs. The second is that as an institution, we cover all aspects of SME activities, as I mentioned, from agriculture, through production, through trade, and services. So we ensure that we offer full services for all ranges of SME businesses, and we encourage all of you to partner with us as we support the development of our country.
Thank you so much, Dominic. Well, thank you, viewers. You've been watching Business Summit. If you just tuned in, and we've been talking about real access to credit from the point of view of Procredit. Procredit is offering SMEs real access to finance, whether in trade, in manufacturing, or even in agribusiness. They have whatever services and products that will suit your needs. So people go to Procredit to support your enterprises for the necessary growth that you earmark. But before we go, we want to give credit to our sponsors as well. We want to thank EDIF, Export Development and Investment Fund, Mobilia Showroom, Mirage Royal Hotel, Ultimate Advertising, Business and Financial Times, Business Times Magazine, and Donkoh Fuel Systems for all the support they provided to Business Summit. Thank you so much, Dominic, and hope to see you again sometime soon. See you then. Bye-bye.